Thursday, April 4th, 2019, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. This morning I want to talk about the day I realized there is something wrong with our monetary system. And yeah, it was like my eureka moment. And I'll go over that story after I just quickly go through the markets here, see what they're doing. Precious metals has been frustrating, but when you listen to my story, you'll realize why I'm a proponent of sound money and why I think it's important that people do have some precious metals as insurance. Before I start, though, I'd like to thank all my Patreons. It's the time of the month where I get paid from your contributions. And yeah, I appreciate that. It helps me focus on the channel and able to earn some kind of income from doing what I do. Even though the main objective of my channel is to try to educate people on how our system, monetary economic system works, and that it's not normal. So it's 10 past 8 a.m. Let's see where we're going. Let's see where we are right now. Spot gold, $12.9250. That's up almost $3. The range has been $12.9380 to $12.8877. Tomorrow, of course, will be a big day in terms of economic statistics with the U.S. jobs data. That's the most important statistic every month. I saw yesterday that the ADP employment, which is a precursor to that number, that was a lot lower than expected. So I would say Wall Street and the economists there have probably revised the non-farm payroll number down already. Silver is unchanged at 12.13. Range has been 12.10. Silver is unchanged at 15.12. The range has been 15.10 to 15.17. The Dow is up 34 points, 26,239, or up 0.13%. S&P 500 is unchanged, 2872. And the NASDAQ 100 future also unchanged, 7541. So markets are fairly quiet so far this morning. The pound is up 0.1%, 131.74. The euro is at 112.35, and the dollar is down 10 pips against the yen. Euro basically is unchanged. Yen is 111.38. Dollar is unchanged against the yuan at 671.80. Crude oil 62.29. The WTI, that's down almost 1/3%. The Brent is 69, also down 1/3%. Bond markets, the 10-year yield has drifted off a little bit overnight, is down 1.5 basis points at 250. Right now, the curve is inverted from 3-month all the way to 7-year, so 243 to 240. So there is an inverted yield curve. It's not from 3-month to 10-year, but I think tomorrow, depending on the non-farm payroll number, it will probably set the tone for the next few weeks of what the curve and everything will do. So the day I realized that our monetary system was like a sham, it wasn't honest. Well, that was back probably around 2002 or 3. It's difficult to remember the exact dates. The older you get, and time seems to go faster and faster, but it was around that time. I was working for ABN AMRO Bank. ABN AMRO bought the futures arm of Citibank back in 1997. When I was working for Citi Futures, it was called. And yeah, and I worked there up until the end of 2003. So, or is it 2004? I forget now. So it's sometime around 2003, I would say. And our offices for ABN AMRO Futures were on Bishopsgate, one of the main roads or main streets in the city of London. It's near Liverpool Street. I'd gone out for lunch to get a sandwich or something, and I was walking back to the office. I was putting some change in my wallet, and I took out I remember at the time it was a 20-pound note. They're quite big. I haven't got one here, but I'll use the 10-pound note. And I was just walking down Bishopsgate and putting the note back in my wallet. And I saw, I never really bothered to look at what the banknote said. And if you look here on top, it says Bank of England, and it actually says in very small print, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £10. So it said that, right here. And I looked at that and I thought, £10 of what? And then I realized, this is, and I had already bought some gold back in '02, and I was doing a lot of reading about gold and the monetary system. And I realized, wow, they used to pay, you could take this to the Bank of England and get your gold coins. And that's when I realized that there was something wrong. And at the time as well, I was reading about libertarianism, the Austrian School of Economics. And there's a guy, an English guy, Sean Gabb. He's written this book, Dispatches from a Dying Country, Reflections on Modern England. This was written in 2001. And he's it says here, Dr. Sean Gabb is a university lecturer and editor of Free Life, the Journal of the Libertarian Alliance, a widely published academic and political writer. He appears regularly on television and radio and is also the creator of the Candid List, the website described by one writer for the Daily Telegraph as the nearest thing this country has to the Spanish Inquisition. So I started looking into this guy, very interesting, and I think it was a couple of years later, I'd already moved from ABN AMRO, and I was working at Man Financial, which became MF Global, right? I worked there from 2004 to 2010. And I went to a libertarian alliance or libertarian party, small conference after work. It was, I remember I had to go into central London, and it was in the Mall, or as Americans would say, the Mall. And it was in this, where they could hire rooms. And I went there to listen to Sean Gabb. And I was surprised that Boris Johnson was there. I'm not sure if he was an MP at the time, but he was famous because he was a newspaper writer. He was quite already famous. So I was surprised Boris Johnson was there. And there's another guy there, Samuel Britton, who was an economist, Sir Samuel Britton. And I was surprised as well that these guys were there. And it says here, he's an English journalist and author. He was the first economics correspondent for the Financial Times, and has since been a long time columnist. He's a member of the Academic Advisory Council of the Global Warming Policy Foundation. There you go. He is, I would say, a Keynesian. So after the Sean Gabb gave his talk, I think Boris Johnson spoke as well. It was quite interesting. I went up to Samuel Britton. People were mingling around, talking to each other. And I took my 20-pound note out. And I wanted to see what he would say, because of my eureka moment I had a few years before. And I showed him the pound note, and I showed him the promise and the fact that if you actually call the Bank of England and ask them about that, they just say that that means that they'll give you a new note if this one gets damaged. But that's not, this is more like a promissory note. And he said, and I said, isn't that a problem for our monetary system? That it's based on this kind of deception and fraud. And he looked at me and said, oh no, he just ignored it. He said, oh no, you know, he kind of, yeah, ignored me. Not ignored me, ignored the question, and probably thought, oh, this guy is like, what's wrong with him? But lo and behold, a few years later, the whole banking system almost collapsed. So have they done anything to fix it? No, the only thing they've done is they've made these banknotes a lot smaller, and you can bet that less and less people will probably read this. And of course, more and more people are using their cards. You know, they swipe or they use their cards to pay for things. So that's the day I realized there was something wrong, and they haven't done anything to fix it. And that's why right now, I know it's frustrating, especially seeing cryptocurrencies go up so well, and gold just getting stuck, and silver as well. And yeah, the system's still screwed up. I just wanted to show you a few things when money was honest. There were honest weights and measures. This is how they used to weigh sovereigns. Here's a full sovereign, how they used to weigh it, and how they used to weigh the half sovereign as well. This is before the digital age, of course, but it worked very well. So I bought this old sovereign and half sovereign scale a few years ago. Of course, is an antique. It's slightly damaged, and this is where they used to keep. People used to keep their gold sovereigns as well, a little sterling silver purse. There you go. That was when money was, you know, honest. It was a weight of value, and there were, you know, there was honest weights and measures. And nowadays we don't. We've got a fraudulent banknotes that promises something that they don't deliver. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you enjoy my videos but haven't subscribed yet, think about subscribing. Make sure you hit the little notification bell above to be notified of all my new videos. You can also follow me on Twitter, Steemit, and on DTube. Yeah, maybe also share this video far and wide with people that you think would enjoy my content. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.